Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I'm super excited for this video because I'm going to be doing a quick little review and 2 looks using the Luxe Beauty Something Gorgeous palette, which looks like this. It's just a tiny little petite palette consisting of 9 shades, 4 of which are matte, 5 are different textures of metallic, and I just think it's a really beautiful color scheme. Super like springy and summery and still soft at the same time. I just love the mix of like the warm tones and the purples. I think it is really beautiful and fun, and I was so excited to get my hands on this palette. So really quickly, I just want to get the more boring information about the palette out of the way. It does retail for $40, which I do feel like is a little bit high just given the fact that it is such a tiny palette. It only has 10.8 grams of product, so it's definitely kind of steep. I don't mind it per se because I know that this is all handmade and I love that, and I love supporting a small business, but it's definitely up to you to decide whether you're willing to spend that money or not. It does have cardboard packaging, which is what I personally prefer. It has sticker overlays over the front and back with all the ingredients. It has a 24-month shelf life and it is cruelty free. And I did want to say really quickly, if you're not already aware, these are back available for pre-order, which is exciting because they were limited edition and they weren't sure they were going to launch more, but they're available for pre-order now, which I'm super excited about because I know a lot of y'all wanted to get your hands on them. And I believe that the pre-order is saying that it'll ship in 3 to 6 weeks from the date that you purchase it. So it will be a little bit of a wait, but if you were wanting to get your hands on it, it is available in some form. Again, I also do have an affiliate code with Luxe Beauty, which is AMYLOVES, and I believe it does not apply to this palette, but it applies to the other palette that they released at the same time as this, and it applies to most things on their site in case you are shopping around. I did do a video that was a first impression on this and the Something Fun palette, which I can leave linked down below as well if you want to see another look with this, and I also used a bunch of my favorite products from Luxe Beauty. Alright, so jumping right into the actual quality of the shadows and what I feel about them, let's start off with the mattes. I would say that I think that it's an okay formula. It's definitely not my favorite. It's buildable. It starts off pretty sheer, and I feel like the key to these like matte shades, these ones here, would all be to use a more dense blending brush. I think that definitely does make a difference. Something that you can kind of pack the shadow on a little bit more, which for some of these type of shades, I don't normally have that problem. I feel like sometimes like with blues or just certain colors, you want to pack more in order to get that intenseness, and you could do that with any eyeshadow, but normally like peaches, I don't really have that problem, and with this, like, I definitely have to build it up, use a dense brush, do a few layers, which for me, I can make it work. Like, it's a soft flush of color on the eye, and I like it, but I do worry for someone who has more melanin in their skin whether some of these matte shades will show up pretty well, which is unfortunate because there are no deepening matte shades in this palette, which is definitely a little bit of a con for me. I knew that going into this. It's definitely something I plan on using with other palettes in the future and not just using on its own, because overall it is a pretty light color scheme. You can go in and use like shimmers on your outer V if you want to, like, or you could throw them in your crease if you wanted to. You could do shimmer everywhere. But realistically, for my makeup style, I can use them on the outer V, but it's not my favorite. I would prefer to have like one deeper matte in a little palette like this. I think it would take it a lot further. So overall, I would say, like I said, the mattes are okay, but definitely not my favorite formula by far. Not a formula where I'm like, you have to try this. Like, I can work with them, but I'm not like obsessed. Like, I think that they could definitely be done a little bit better. So next, moving on to the shimmers in the palette, I really like them. I think that they're very beautiful. Like, I really love this lavender. It's more of just like a true, like, just soft metallic shade. I love the shade in the middle, which is like, it's like this purpley goldy green reflect. It's such a beautiful, I think it's supposed to be like called a trichrome. It is really stunning all over the lid or in the inner corner. I feel like you can add just a little bit and get like a sheer wash, or you can go in with a glitter glue and get this really intense. If you don't use a glitter glue, I think you'll definitely get some fallout from this. It's a little bit more crumbly. I feel like this shade is kind of similar to the middle shade, where it's like a little bit more crumbly. It's kind of like a duochrome pink to purple, but it's a little bit more creamy and it's not quite as glittery. So I like that one as well. And then like the deeper pink and the orange are both like pretty true metallic shades, which you can wet them to make them more intense, and I really do love the orange. I feel like that's such a fun pop to this palette. I really enjoy that in here. So overall, I do really like the shimmers. I would definitely hope that they do more palettes with like this type of shade in the middle here. It's just so beautiful. I feel like it's the star of the show, and I love it. Like I said, it definitely, I feel like, does require a glitter glue for most looks if you want to use it more intensely, but I think it's worth it, and I think that overall it just adds something special to this palette. So I guess I would say, for like the price point and thinking about the palette and how I feel about it, I would probably give this palette like a B-. I think a lot of that good grade is coming from the color scheme because I think it is so beautiful, but realistically you could go to a lot of indie brands and get similar shades for like $5 each in bigger singles, and you could probably dupe out this entire palette for about the same price as this palette, except for like full-size shadows, if you wanted to do your own like little Z palette. Except for this one, I feel like that's the most unique one, but even that you could probably find something between all the different indie brand formulas that are out there. So I don't know, it's kind of hard to recommend this just because the matte formula is not my favorite. I think that if every single thing in this palette was perfect for $40, I would recommend it, but I don't know, I'm a little undecided. I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on it. I feel like I got some really beautiful looks out of this. I will definitely keep using it. I enjoy it, but I'm not sure if this, for me, is a $40 palette. Like, oh, well, it is a $40 palette regardless of whether I think it is or not. But is it worth $40? I'm not sure. I think it really depends on the individual person, and if they have these shades in their collection, and if they are willing to spend that kind of money on eyeshadow, because not everybody is. So that's just kind of my thoughts. I think that it's a B- palette for me. I try to do this really quickly just to tell you what would make this palette an A+, just to give my very quick constructive criticism. I would want to see more pigment in the mattes. I would like to see a little bit more depth as far as matte shades go, because I feel like most people enjoy that. I think that like maybe this pink, or we could have done away with one of these purples in order to have a deeper matte shade. I think that would have made a lot of difference for this palette. Also, I feel like for $40, like maybe a mirror or something, I just feel like, I don't know, something about the price doesn't sit quite right with me, and I try not to be judgmental because I know, like, I'm sure it's a lot of hard work to do all these handmade and come up with the concepts and everything, but it doesn't exactly feel like a palette that I paid $40 for. So I'm sorry to be like harping on the price so much. I'm sure some people don't even care about that or care about how much product is in there, but that's basically my thoughts on the palette. Let's just go ahead and jump on into the two looks. Alright, so jumping right on into the first look for this video using the palette, I'm going to start off with this really beautiful light purple shade right here. As you can see, this palette does stain the eyes because I was wearing it yesterday. I did want to show you that it stains the eyes before I go in with my eye primer, and today I'm just going to be using the Ofra Gel Eye Primer, which I received through Octoly. This is just like a regular, like thin, not really no coverage type of eye primer, so I figured I would try the palette with this because I already tried it with my Makeup Revolution Cut Crease Canvas, which is like my go-to for a more bold eye, and I normally use this when I'm doing a softer eye, which is what I'm trying to do today. I actually have plans tonight. Plans for 2 Fridays in the last month. That's crazy. Who am I? I never go anywhere. Alright, so jumping right on in with that purple, just gonna go ahead and throw that through my crease. Just blend upwards. This one actually looks pretty vibrant. I'm gonna go ahead and take a little bit of this purple shimmery shade, and I'm actually gonna use that on like my outer V. It has been so long since I used shimmers in my outer V, but these palettes from Luxe Beauty are making me. So it's fine. Just gonna kind of keep this on like the outer third of my eye, just blending it out a little bit. It adds a tiny bit of depth to the look, but not really. Alright, now just going back into my previous brush, just gonna like quickly blend that edge there. I think I'm gonna go ahead and grab this pinky purpley matte, and I'm gonna start blending that along my lower lash line, just as like a little like soft shade underneath. I'm gonna go in with some shimmers on the lower lash line, I'm pretty sure, but I thought I would start off with this, which this one just looks straight up pink on the eye. I'm gonna grab a little touch of this shade And I'm gonna pop that on like the outer part of the lower lash line. It also has a little bit of pinky purple going on, so may as well add it in here. I literally cannot find my NYX glitter glue right now, and I am so annoyed. Like, what could I have possibly done with it? I use it almost every single day. I know where it is. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and use my NYX glitter glue all over my lid. I'm also just taking a little dab along my lower lash line right here. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and take this really beautiful middle shade right here. And I'm going to put that all over my lid. Holy crap, that is beautiful. And then I'm going to take a little bit along my lower lash line. Just in that tiny little area where I added some glitter glue just for like a little pop. Alright, for my inner corner, I'm going to grab my See Me From Space palette from Luxe Beauty, and I'm going to use this shade right here called Galactic. I'm just going to pop that onto my inner corner for a little highlight, since there's the only really inner corner color in this palette to me would be the shade that I have all over the lid, so I want my inner corner to be lighter than that. I'm going to go ahead and finish up my eyes with the dark purple liner from Ardency Inn and the Better Than Sex mascara from Too Faced. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and finish quickly. I'm going to use Galactic again, and this time as a face highlight. Whew. I feel like I didn't think like my shirt through with this eye because I don't think it goes very well, so I'm going to have to change, which is really annoying, but it's fine. I'm going to go ahead and use the Paul & Joe lipstick in the shade N214. Actually, I don't like that with this. I'm going to use the Dominique Cosmetics Lemonade lip gloss in the shade Peach Tea instead. It's more of a pink, and I've been curious to try this on its own now. So I feel like last time I talked about this, I said it smelled like coconut, but I changed my mind. It smells like cake icing. Why is my hair so crazy? Alright guys, so this is the finished first look. I hope you enjoyed it. Now let's go ahead and jump on into look number 2. Alright guys, let's just go ahead and jump right on into the second look. So I'm going to start off with the like peachy shade right here. Picking that up pretty heavily on my brush, I'm just going to go ahead and throw that in my crease. Just going to try and do something pretty quick today because I've got a time limit. I am bringing my son to a doctor's appointment as soon as he wakes up from his nap. So just trying to keep this quick. Still going to be colorful, and I'm so excited because I want to use the orange today all over the lid. So this peach picks up a lot better if you go in with a more dense brush. This is a fluffy brush, but it's got a little bit of something to it. Just gonna go ahead and like blend that upwards. I'm gonna go ahead and take that peach shade along the lower lash line. Alright, now I'm gonna go ahead and grab the pinky coral shade. Just taking it on that like really precise brush, I'm just going to pop this into my outer V just for a little bit of, I don't know how much dimension this is gonna give because it's still a pretty like bright neon-y type shade. But just to add a little bit of something to the outer V, I'm just gonna slightly blend that in. Nothing too crazy. I'm really in the mood for a like Coke slushie, so I might have to stop at Turkey Hill. Alright, now just quickly I'm gonna go back in my previous brush and just blend over the edge there, just making sure it all looks soft. I'm going to grab just a tiny little touch of this pink, and I'm going to run that on the lower lash line. Just on like the outer part. Alright, now for the fun part, I'm going to go ahead and take this orange right here, and I'm going to pop that all over the lid. And I am going to kind of bring it into my crease just a little bit, like into that peachy shade, which I'll blend it out, but I want it to be more of a soft look. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and take my little, or not exactly little, but my fluffy brush through the crease right here. Just making sure that's blended out the way I want it to be. I'm actually picking up a little bit more of the orange and I'm just gonna spray that. And I'm gonna put that on my lid just to make it a little bit more intense. That's really beautiful. I'm grabbing a touch more of the original peach shade and just refreshing that on the lower lash line so that you can actually see the peach and it doesn't just look blank there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take this middle shade right here and I'm gonna lightly pop that on my inner corner. I'm not going with too much because I don't want the purple to show through. When you just use a tiny bit like that, it just looks kind of like a goldy little sparkle. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and finish up the eyes with the Ardency Inn Coffee Liner, which is just a brown, and then throw on some mascara. For highlighter, I'm going to take my See Me From Space Drenched Highlighter Palette from Luxe Beauty, and I'm going to grab Heliocentric. Just throwing that on the top of my cheekbone. You guys! Finally! I hit pan. I knew it would happen eventually. Obviously there's a pan under there, but I've just been so obsessed with this highlighter. For lips, I'm just going to keep it super simple and go with my Good Girl Gloss from Amy Hearts Beauty. I would do that. Alright guys, so this is the finished second look. I really love how it turned out. I feel like that bright orange all over the lid is like almost neon. It just looks super bright and summery. So I hope you enjoyed today's video and I will see you in the next one. Bye!